Are you looking for hot takes and guests yelling over top of each other? Well, you came to the wrong place. This is the final word where we talk about sports like they used to. All opinions are welcome, but that doesn't mean you are right. Hosted by Greg Rector. Welcome in.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Cowboys, otherwise known as Greg Rector, Team MBS Media's Draft Central Analyst, and I'm joined with another Team MBS Draft Analyst here, Randall Slifer, who
Hey,
is, of course, living in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
that is correct. And it is 95 degrees out at 6 o'clock Central Time. And it's nice. It's getting warmer. I'm not excited to go to Vegas in a week when it's going to be 111, but I guess I should soak up the 92-degree weather now.
Well, yeah, but see now, the heat that you're under now has humidity with it. When you go to Vegas, that humidity is gone.
I know, and I have never been in extreme heat with low humidity because I've never really visited much of the Southwest. I mean, my wife is from Southern California, but really it's been like 75 and really nice weather when I go there. So this is like the first 10% humidity that I'm experiencing. So
Yeah,
we'll
that'll be fun for you. Well, looky there. Woo, Pig Sooie. Can you tell I used to live in Arkansas? Can you tell this?
It is. I feel like people are confused by our chants that we do in the stadium until you get in the stadium, and then it's a lot of fun. But I can
Yeah.
understand how some people might be a little confused sometimes.
Yeah, exactly right. The Arkansas Razorbacks, they get a visit from my Notre Dame Fighting Irish for the very first time in their school's history. They will play the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame this year. That will be a very interesting tilt. That means the only SEC schools that Notre Dame has never played is Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Auburn.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Are those on the docket in the upcoming years at all, or that's just got to work
No.
itself out?
No, they're not on the docket at all for Notre Dame at this point. But again, if any one of those three schools want to come on up to South Bend, in November, you come on up.
Yeah, we'll probably need a little bit of a perfect storm. Fortunately, it's in Fayetteville, so at least we have the home field advantage at that point. But we'll probably need a perfect storm to beat you guys. And as I said, with Arkansas' schedule is between Notre Dame, Texas A&M, LSU, and Texas, just win one of them. So whether it be Notre Dame or somebody else, just one out of those four.
Being somebody who remembers the old Southwestern Conference that Arkansas used to be in, you could beat up the Texas Longhorns any day of the week that you'd like to. That would be lovely because that would remind me of my younger days, and so that wouldn't hurt my feelings any. Texas A&M, we all know that school has 4 and 5 star prospects up the wazoo every year, and they all seem to be down to 2 and 3 stars by the time they leave College Station.
I know. We always go toe to toe with them. I mean, the last crazy game was because they play at the Jerry Jones Center. Was the Cam Little when he hit the top of the upright and then it bounced up and then went back, and that was like that. I mean, that was an incredible game. And I love Cam Little. I believe he's still with Jacksonville right now. But man, that was a crazy thing to happen in football.
Oh, exactly. So let's talk about the 2026 NFL draftees that could be eligible for the 2026 NFL draft from the Arkansas Razorbacks. Let's begin with the offensive lineman.
All right, yeah. I think honestly, our offensive line will be the best offensive line that Sam Pittman has had since he's come here. Mind you, he was an offensive line coach in Georgia, but I believe he did doctor up what he is to be the best that he's had. He picked up Corey Robinson II, transfer from Georgia Tech. I believe that was in circulation when they considered Fernando Carmona interested in going to left guard. Now, there's speculation on Fernando Carmona, why he wanted to move left guard, whether it just be versatility going into the draft so he can improve his stock, or if it was just left tackle might not have been his cup of tea personally. I believe his footwork's a little needs a little work, and his foot speed is a little slow. So I think left guard kind of fits him in a better spot. I'm not sure if he suggested it or if they suggested it, but they went and got Corey Robinson, the second from Georgia Tech, which I do love. He started the second half of the 2024 season with only allowing 3 pressures at left tackle. So that was a great get from them. Then you move into Fernando Carmona into left guard. Caden Kittler came from UCF, very good center, quick, fast, and I believe he's just a touch at over 300 pounds, so he can move well, but he still has a decent anchor. And then Imari,
I've got him at 302 currently. Wait,
302, perfect.
Yeah.
And then the interesting thing, so when we're talking about draft, Fernando Carmona will definitely be a hot topic when it comes into the draft. Corey Robinson II certainly will as well. And then Imarian Harris, he's a homegrown from Little Rock. He was the number 3 player in Arkansas in 2024, so he's young. So they're not really draftable, same as Shaq McRoy. But the right side will be super interesting because Shaq McRoy did not play a single snap in Oregon last year, but he's 6'8", 368 pounds, a 4-star prospect. He should take the right tackle position, but it'll be interesting to see if he can handle it and where Marion Harris goes from there. Maybe they need to switch or things along those lines. But talking about draft potential, Caden Kittler is draft potential. I believe he's got 1 more year eligibility, so he could stay. And from Fernando and Corey Robinson potentially too, I believe. And then Fernando Carmona will be the hot name for the docket when it comes to the 2026 draft. I think he's top 100 as long as he efficiently uses his guard spot this year, which I do believe he will.
Yeah, because he was playing left tackle. He's moving into the guard spot, so he will be better off as a guard, I feel.
Yeah, he gave up. I mean, he gave up 20-plus pressures as a left tackle. His stats showed what his tape was, sort of thing, so left guard suits him.
Yeah, and of course, he also had the little incident last season, which we've discussed in the draft professor's room. We don't know what goes on between those defensive linemen and the offensive linemen in a game, guys. So when Carmona had his incident of stepping on the guy, everybody's upset with him. The coaching staff already spoke with him. He's already come out and said publicly that, that was a bad thing to do and all that other jazz. So I don't care about that. It was just like Riley Mills last year when he punched the guy in the mouth. Well, you don't know what that offensive lineman said to Riley Mills, just as you don't know what the defensive lineman was saying to Felix Carmona. It's just that simple, right?
Absolutely. That's the one's a mistake, 2's a trend, 3's a problem sort of thing. Can't fault a football player for that one thing. And of course, nobody's going to forget it. But Fernando Carmona has done everything in this offseason correctly. Anytime he's talking to the media, he's talked very well. And all the offensive linemen, offensive coach said he's taking a leadership role. So I'm in. I'm bought in for sure. Yeah,
absolutely right. Let's go to the quarterback.
All right. Let's talk about him.
Taylon Green. You and I are both very high on Taylon Green. Others may not be quite as high on him, but you go ahead and tell us about Taylon.
Sure. I mean, Taylon Green is that prototypical NFL quarterback that somebody's looking for. Dual threat ability, is great in the run game, great in the scramble game as well. The way he uses his legs is more than just designated runs. He's able to scramble out of the pocket, and he can gain yards off that. But he's got a rocket for an arm. He can throw it 65 yards, flat-footed or even, off his 1 foot, things like that. So he's got that strong arm. He kind of gives me the vibes of Josh Allen and his last year in Wyoming into his rookie year into Buffalo Bills, where he's just unsure of what he needs to do and what he's capable of, but he just needs that confidence to grow. And when it comes down to how does he grow, I do think that one thing that is going to help Taylon Green a lot is that offensive line. This offensive line will be the best that he has. And one thing that was wrong with Taylon Green was he would bail out of the pocket too soon because he feared that he was either going to get sacked. And when it comes down to it, a lot of dual threat quarterbacks know that they can do it with their legs, but you have to pick and choose in the NFL the right moments to do it with your legs. Sometimes you need to sit in the pocket, let the play progress, and then your open player can do the work for you. a lot of dual threat quarterbacks will be like, well, I can just do it, so I'll take it and run. I think the offensive line will help him improve, especially in Arkansas's offense and the air raid RPO. He handles RPOs very well. He knows when to keep it or hand it off to our running backs, which our running backs are always strong. So we rely on his ability to diagnose pre-snap. Now it's just having the confidence in doing it while sitting in the pocket and making the right choices. Taylor Green, for me, if he does kind of get it better in his footwork and his mental space, I believe that he's top 5 Heisman. I think with his size and prototype and what he could do with an Arkansas offense and an Arkansas team, if we end up turning 8-4, somehow we get into 8-4, or maybe even better. I don't think we can really get into 8-4. And then he's pulling stats of 800 plus rushing yards with a good passing game, that he should definitely be considered even in a tough quarterback market in the 2026 draft. But Taylor Green has all the tools to do it. Boise State, coming over from Boise State used him more as a win now type, use your legs more than your arm sort of thing, and let's just get a W out of it. Petrino kind of leaned on him a little bit to develop him into an NFL quarterback, which I love. And now year 2 with Petrino, I think it's going to send him off.
Yeah. Taylor Green last year, he had, what did he have? 602 yards running, and 8 TDs, as a runner.
Yeah.
But again, he understood, and he said so on March 10th here. My improvement includes taking care of the ball, the fumbles, and interceptions, and my ability to focus all 4 quarters. Especially when I get tired, I've seen my ability to think about the read or think about everything that I have to go through. Whether it's your tired 4th quarter or I just had a 60-yard run and I've got to be able to audible or call different play, that's a really big thing I'm stressing, is to get my stamina up and my mental toughness better. So that's Taylor Green. I really do think Taylor Green has the ability to jump into the Heisman race this year. Is that my Arkansas bias?
I don't think so. Because it's fair. First of all, and you can't teach size. 6'6", 235, I believe. I mean, that is something that you can't teach him when it comes down. And when Taylor Green talks about that, which Bobby Petrino I know well, is that again letting the play progress, right? Like if you go for a 60-yard run, like he had 20 last year, he had 20 less carries than Jaquindon Jackson total in the season. Right. So maybe knock off 10 or 20 of those throughout the entire season and let the play progress. So then you do have more stamina in the 4th quarter. It's not all about just trying to maximize your endurance, but let your team around you make plays for you and make you look good as well, which is easily what Petrino likes to do. Petrino likes RPOs with quick flats, quick slants. Let that play progress and make it easy on yourself so you are not sweating bullets with 5 minutes left at the 4th.
No, exactly right. And yes, Taylor Green is higher on my quarterback depth chart than Cade Klubnik and all these other guys that people are talking about. I really do think Taylor Green can have the type of season that you just discussed, though. I really do. Bobby Petrino understands how to get quarterbacks to be able to play in the NFL. He understands that.
He really does. Yeah, we didn't fire him because he was a bad coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and again with the second year getting under Petrino and Taylor Green, I think that connection will be good. Our running backs are always solid, as you know. Razorback running backs are always stay true. We have good running backs this year. Offensive line, everything will come together. It really depends on tight ends and wide receivers at least being above average. You don't need to be elite, but be serviceable for Taylor Green and make it work.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm going to discuss the tight end that came over from Montana State, Rohan Jones, who is born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Yes, sir, a Canadian. Now, Arkansas, everybody always says Arkansas people are dumb and all that other jazz. They also have another tight end who comes from Sweden.
Denmark. Danish. That's my fault.
Denmark.
Yep. Andreas Paas.
Yes. So everybody who thinks Arkansas is just this dumb hick place, no, Fayetteville is not the same as the capital where I used to live. Foreign students are welcome.
Oh, exactly. I mean, Northwest Arkansas, I mean, there's like at least 50 different like social media accounts called either like Arkansas Transplants or Northwest Arkansas Transplants because we have three big corporations that bring so many other people from around the world. So then it's more of just a melting pot in Northwest Arkansas specifically. And then, it just kind of congeals and it's a really fun area. And but then, you go 30 minutes south and then you start getting into that Midwest business for sure.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Having been a North Little Rock resident for many years, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But Rohan Jones is good though. I think he scored a touchdown in the FCS Natty, so he came up clutch in the FCS national title.
Yep.
First year, I mean, he had 9 touchdowns on 30 receptions. That is impressive for 6'3", 236. He can go in line. He can go in the slot. He's got good route running. He's physical enough to go through it. He's going to be that pass catching while Andreas is going to be the blocker because he's 6'6", 265. I mean, he's basically, he is a blocking tight end, which I love to have him. And then those two are going to work really well together. And I like that system.
Yeah, absolutely. So there will be a Canadian playing very well for the Arkansas Razorbacks this year, which is nice to see. What other Arkansas Razorbacks on the offense do you want to talk about?
Sure, yeah. So obviously, when it comes down to it, which we were talking about, how do we get Taylon Green? The only way that we become relevant, in my personal opinion, is Taylon Green making a big jump this year. If Taylon Green can make a big jump this year, then recruiting will get better. More quarterbacks will want to be coming. So that's going to rely on our tight ends and wide receivers for sure to be at least adequate. And basically, we did the same thing. We basically had to grab transfers as we had Desmond James, who was a freshman transfer to the West Coast, who we were excited about, but he transferred out. So we had to go get some guys. We went and got Omega Blake from he started in South Carolina, went to Charlotte for a little bit, and now he did so well in Charlotte, got back into the SEC. But he's a redshirt senior, 6'2", 182. He's got good route running. He's tall and physical. 2024 in Charlotte, he had 9 touchdowns on 32 receptions, plays out wide and in the slot. He'll probably take that Andrew Armstrong role over. He's very good at those fades and go routes on 20 yards, so he can get it at the contested catch for sure. And then you're dipping down to another transfer that we got, Ismail Sissy. He went to Stanford to Arkansas. He was a consensus top 10 recruit from Colorado. He had some good stats, but again, Stanford's offense was relatively abysmal last year, so stats kind of don't really show it.
Yeah, but the word you missed there was pitiful, but okay.
There you go. Yeah, abysmal and pitiful. Yeah. But he gives 100% effort on his route running. I really like it. He's 198, so he's kind of got a little good build to him. But he's got, my favorite thing is for 198, he decelerates to separate really well. So when you're looking at that option, because Arkansas really only can favor one wide receiver to get 800 plus yards, he will be that zone type that will find the spots in zone while Omega Blake is running those vertical routes. He'll open it up and do it on the intermediate. And then I'll for the offense, I'll just talk about running backs real quick because I do love our running backs. I always love our running backs and I love running the ball. But we have 2. We have 1 transfer and then 2 that are homegrown, which I do love. Braylon Russell is from Benton, Arkansas, closer to where you were in Little Rock. And he's just a sophomore. He got, I believe, 80 carries last year behind Jaquindon Jackson, played very well, had a dynamite game against Texas Tech, I believe. And then he had 67 for 354, but he averaged 6.7 yards per carry. He's got good lateral movement. He can, double slide to the left. He can go outside. He can go inside. And then we got a transfer in Mike Washington, which I'm curious to see how he ends up. He's taller, but he's a little bit lighter. Arkansas always likes their tall guys. And he says he's 6'2", but I think he's maybe 6'2 and a half. And he's and I've seen 215, but I've seen 223. But he went from University of Buffalo, so shout out to that. So I love that already. He's from Utica. Love that. But he went to New Mexico State, and now he's finally kind of trajectorily made his way into bigger competition, so that's always good. He has some hand troubles. He's got 4 fumbles and 4 drops, but he's more of a zone runner. He's huge. His arms are very long. He just looks like a big guy that can help in blocking and running the ball at the same time. So he's a good, maybe off-speed sort of guy that we can use. And then another guy from Little Rock as well is Cam Settles. Cam Settles was a top 75 running back in the 2025 class. He was high. He was very coveted in Arkansas in themselves, but he's 5'11", 204. He's smaller, but he ran track. For 204, he ran track. I believe he ran like an 11:10 in the 100-meter. He had 156 yards in his high school championship game. True freshman. He should be very good. I hope that they start to use him so we kind of don't lose him in the next year. But I think he's a good up-and-comer for the SEC.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I want to talk about Xavier Sooie, the linebacker.
Let's do it.
Man, he can fly. He has great speed. He, above average IQ as far as his football IQ goes. He had 99 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks last year. He could live up to that 5-star status he had coming out of high school, couldn't he?
He certainly could. Yeah, he's got a really good mental to him. He really understands the read and react coming from the second level. He does not panic on RPOs or anything, and that's kind of huge in college for me, is guessing wrong on RPOs. If you're guessing on those read and react, then you're just going to put yourself in a bad situation. He doesn't do that. He's calm and patient. He hits hard. He hits very hard. The Texas game, he shot through the line for a tackle for loss on Jaden Blue. Remember Jaden Blue talking about going 4-2-1. He was on an outside run, and he bust through him and laid him down. Xavier Sooie at 231 is quicker than he looks, and he hits hard enough. He will be between him and Fernando Carmona are probably could be, and then we're taking Taylon Green to the side because he should obviously be coveted, and that's what we hope for. But other than Taylon Green, those are the two that'll probably be the most sought after, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, and Xavier is a hitter. He will lay you out. I don't care who you are. Yes, Jaden Blue is now a Dallas Cowboy and all that fun sort of stuff, but that hit against him, that was, oh Lord, he went down.
Yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly right.
I mean, we live in our defense. We took out Tennessee last year with them only scoring 14 points. So
that's right.
Sooie was a part of that. I mean, our 3-4 defense. Is there anybody else that you like on our defense that you're looking at?
Well, I do have a couple of other guys that I really like. Cam Ball.
Oh yeah.
He's 6'5", 310-pound DT. He had 47 tackles last year, 4 for loss, 2 sacks, a fumble recovery in 2024. He's an older player, but again, he's going to be a team captain. He's going to be somebody that will help the Razorbacks younger players and all that other sort of stuff. But he is coming off elbow surgery, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And you don't know how he's gonna come back from the elbow surgery as of now. But boy, I do like Cam Ball as a player.
Yeah, I kind of see him as like a Caleb Banks light in the way he moves in that 3-tech role. He can cut, and then obviously in the 3-4, he comes from nose tech a lot, but he can come from 3-tech. He is able to. He already peaks in his stack and shed, which I always love to see. He's got that for his run defense. He's very good at, and then he has that upper body strength where his swim move is good enough, and his just kind of rips or swipes are good enough to where he can get past a guard or a tackle. And he's got good speed. He's got quick footwork, so he can just kind of push through on a bull rush or just kind of dip around the edge if he needs to. But he's good. The elbow surgery is why I don't have him in my top 10 right now in defensive line coming in. But I'm a big fan of Cameron Ball. And then he's got a good guy that they got from Abilene Christian, David Oke, that's going to be next to him too. He's from Nigeria. He's a senior. He finally worked his way up. His run defense is like incredible. His best facet of it. He only had 1.5 sacks last year at Abilene Christian, but he can work on that because he had 26 pressures. So really, it's just turning some of those pressures into getting to the quarterback.
The quarterback, yeah,
exactly. But his run defense is incredible, and that's what we need. Talking about, what was our weak point in the defense last year? we beat Tennessee 19-14. Nico had 0 touchdown passes, and Dylan Sampson had 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the 2 touchdowns came from Dylan Sampson
That's right.
only, and that's all they scored. So his run defense will improve that front line and probably open up Cameron Ball to get to the quarterback more often.
Yeah. And then there's defensive back Julian Neal, who comes from the Fresno State Bulldogs. So he was a Mountain West fella.
Yeah, I honestly haven't watched much on him, but I am excited to see him. And they said that his spring training went very, very well. So I'm excited to see how he turns up. What do you have for him?
Well, he had 35 tackles last year, 22 solo and 13 assisted. He had 1 sack and a couple of interceptions. Fresno State last year had a very tough season. So, again, you can't fault one player for anybody's tough season. But Julian Neal appears to be a comer as far as I'm concerned. We'll see what happens with him.
For sure. And then, yeah, he should be in that slot role for sure. And then, then we got Caleb Wooden from Auburn, which I'm excited. Awesome. Our two safeties, I'm actually very excited about, with Wooden taking the free safety role from Auburn to Arkansas. He came over because the he was familiar with the defensive coaches. So we almost in my eyes, we got a steal on him. I'm glad that he came there. He'll be really good in that free safety role. And then we have Larry Worth III that's going to be interested in that defensive back role as well, because he's 6'4", 225, transfer from Jacksonville State to Arkansas. So you're in that big body, that Kyle Hamilton safety position thing. He hits well. His coverage is good. The only knock is that he takes very bad angles, and I hope he kind of fixes that, because that's huge, especially for somebody that plays more in the box as a safety. Those outside runs, you have to know which angle to take to make sure that you're contributing in that facet. But having a 6'4", 225 safety next to Caleb Wooden's going to be very fun.
They've also got another DB that's come in, and this young man, Jordan Young, was basically the Cincinnati Bearcats' absolute best defensive back last year.
Yeah, he should be on the other side of Singletary. I'm hoping that he takes that role on the other side of Singletary for sure, which then will put the Fresno State guy in the back probably. But I do like Jordan Young a lot. He had 5 pass deflections, I believe, and it wasn't in a lot of snaps that he took. But he's going to be, if those back 4, if it's Jaheim Singletary, Young, and then those 4, with Sorey in the middle, and then those 3 in the front, especially then you have Quincy Rhodes, which is basically a Landon Jackson carbon copy on that side. He's 6'6", 280. So he should do well. So him on that other side, and then having Caleb Wooden in that free safety role can help him out. And I think it'll be a good transition for him.
Yeah, absolutely right. Thank you for doing that, Rick. It's always appreciated when people retweet our stream and everything else. And everybody else as well out there. Please like and subscribe to the channel. That's how us small guys survive out here, is with likes, your comments, and your subscriptions. Who else are you looking at for the Arkansas Razorbacks this year?
Let's see. I'll talk a little bit more Quincy Rhodes, which I am excited for. The 6'6", 280, he's also from Little Rock, a 4-star prospect. He was the number 2 player out of Arkansas, and he sat behind Landon Jackson. So he didn't have many snaps throughout 2024, but he is taking that role. So I believe that's going to be it's not going to be a 1-and-1, because I loved how Landon Jackson is, but learning behind him and then taking the reins will be very good. I think he had a sack and 4 pressures in the Liberty Bowl, so he took what he could and definitely made it work. Let's see, we talked about Cameron Ball, Larry Worth, Jaheim Singletary, redshirt junior. He's entering the 3rd year. He's very good. He's been solid with us since he came over. 42 tackles, 24 solo. He has 6 pass breakups and 1 interception. Had a great year last year, so looking to jump onto it this year. I would think that if he had a good year, he would declare as a redshirt junior, but I believe he has 1 more year. But he's a good one that we'll be looking at coming into the end of the year, because he had such a good year last year. And
Do you think he stays in school with the NIL?
I think it's what his family and his agents tell him. I think he'll look at where his draft stock is at the end of the year and play it by ear there. And then, it's another conversation to be had at what NIL is turned into the 2026 to 2027 year. Because so the 20.3 million cap that you're spreading out, is that all we're going to use? Or are we circumventing nil deals with businesses again? Because, when people talk about the nil and the donors wanting to give nil contributions outside of that 20.3, we have Tyson, JB Hunt, and Walmart. Like those people want they want to spend some money, sort of thing.
Well, who else do you have that's a famous Arkansas Razorback who supports the team?
Mr. Jerry Jones. He does not financially support the team.
You're right, exactly right. I want people to understand that Jerry doesn't spend money on the NIL side of things for the Arkansas Razorbacks, but
which is fair, which I respect, because he said he doesn't know how murky it gets in between investing in college and being an NFL owner, and that makes 100% sense.
Yeah. So Jerry was awake at that time, which is all good.
Yeah, I know you did something right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it comes down to Taylor Green and how they're going to operate. As it is, looking at the schedule, you have to win Alabama A&M. You got to win Arkansas State. You have to win Memphis. You have to win at Mississippi State. Those four, you got to win those four. I say you got to win 2 out of 4 in Ole Miss, Missouri, Auburn, and Tennessee. If you can win 2 out of those and maybe sneak in a third, that's when we start talking about the 8-4 sort of thing. And then win 1 out of Notre Dame, Texas A&M, LSU, and Texas. So if you get that, and then maybe you can sneak 1 more, that's an 8-4 talk. And I believe the last time we went 8-4 was Brett Bielema, and then we gave him a whole bunch of money to do nothing after that. So,
right.
But also, Pittman is consistently on the hot seat. So an 8-4 would probably keep his job. 7-5, Petrino could take over even at 7-5 if I had to take a guess.
Well, I'm hoping that Arkansas goes 9-3 this year. I really am.
Me too.
I know that they're going to lose to the Fighting Irish. That's a given. Taylor Green, you might want to take that week off because there's only 15 defensive linemen returning to the Fighting Irish. Their linebacker core and their secondary. These guys are loaded. If you think the Arkansas defense is going to be something, this Notre Dame defense is going to be nasty.
Listen, I agree. And I told you it's going to have to be a perfect storm for that game. And, unfortunately, they did it in 11 o'clock Central game, which I really wish they did it in 6 o'clock at a prime time.
Yeah, but again, Notre Dame gets so many primetime games though from the NBC side of things, and then the other games that they do have already. That this one was stuck at that position, which it doesn't make any sense to me. But that's the way it goes. But again, when the Fighting Irish come to Fayetteville, that's going to be an exciting day.
I've said I'd buy your ticket.
I
stand true.
I know. But again, when that game does happen this year, it will be very exciting for the people in Arkansas to actually have. Is lucky because signed with Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, he did. Jaquindon was also one of my guys that I took in one of our mock drafts that we did in the offseason because I love Jaquindon. I thought he was just phenomenal.
As long as he gets his shot, which he certainly could in Jacksonville, or just kind of go for the longevity, he certainly could too. There was a decent. I believe Andrew Armstrong was snubbed as well. Eric Gregory, and there's a good amount of Arkansas players that came into that draft that I was pretty high on. So I'm hoping that
Andrew Armstrong. We were both so high on Andrew Armstrong
because he's so good. He had 136 yards that Tennessee game too. While the closest person was 45 in that upset, and he consistently did it against good teams. So Andrew Armstrong will get his, especially in Miami, because they need an outside X for sure.
Absolutely. So yes, there you go, Rick, the Miami Dolphins fan of Team MBS Media. You got a good one in Andrew Armstrong.
Yeah, and sure. I'm not going to throw out the Andrew Armstrong shirt, even though I'm a Bills fan and he had to go to the Dolphins. I still wear that proudly because he is a dog.
That's right. Absolutely right. So that's the Arkansas Razorbacks that are going to be going for the NFL draft in 2026. This week was a very tough week for myself. As everybody in Team MBS land knows, July 1st is Canada Day, and Canada Day is also the day that my wife passed away 23 years ago. So I go out to Forget-Me-Not Lake, and I go visit my wife's ashes, my dad's ashes, and my daughter's ashes, who are all three are out there. So that was tough enough. But then the other night I woke up, and I woke up just as it basically happened to Diogo Jota passing away. And as everybody also knows, I am an LFC fan. I have been a Liverpool fan since the 70s when Liverpool dominated the world. We had 18 league titles before Manchester United even had 7. So, you know, everybody always talks about this rivalry between us and Manchester United and all that other fun sort of stuff. And they all talk about Alan Shearer scored 260 goals. Well, Ian Rush scored 346 goals for the Liverpool Reds in the 70s and the 80s before it became the Premier League. You know, but again, Diogo Jota and his brother, Andre Silva, died in that accident. It was a horrible, horrible thing to see. The Daily Mail and the Sun putting their photographers right in the face of Rude Cardoza, his now his wife who's lost her husband, was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The Sun should never ever be allowed in Liverpool ever again. It's not a very popular place for them anyway. Ever since the Huddersfield disaster and what they did to the city of Liverpool to begin with, but the Liverpool Reds reacted the right way. They are paying off his contract for the next 2 years. They are paying for all 3 kids' education. The number 20 has been retired. Diogo Jota was not the superstar that people think of when they think of the football team. They think of Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk,
mm-hmm.
and Alisson in net, right? Those are the guys that are the big superstars. But Jota first came over from FC Porto to the Wolverhampton Wolves. He got Wolverhampton into the Premier League, and Wolverhampton has remained in the Premier League. He came over to the Liverpool Reds after they had won their first Premier League title without the fans, which still bothers me to this day. But again, Jota has his own song. When you get a song given to you by the Liverpool Reds fans, you are something. If anybody who's old enough like I am understands Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival, that is the song that they actually use to sing, "Oh, he wears the number 20. He will take us to victory. And when he's running down the left wing, he'll cut inside and score for LFC. He's a lad from Portugal, better than Figo, don't you know? Oh, his name is Diogo." Figo, for all you young people as well, go look up Figo. He was one of the top 100 players on Pele's list of 100 players. So Figo was a very good player. Yes, he also just won the Nations League after winning the Premier League this year with the Liverpool Reds, with Portugal, with Cristiano Ronaldo. And then you see the response from the fans out there. It was really a beautiful thing to see, except for a few clowns that I had to block, who were trying to make this about the rivalries and all this other nonsense. This was a human being, you clowns.
100%.
You know, his parents lost both of their children. They're both gone. That's what you care about. That's what you care about at this moment. You don't care about the rivalry.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's tragic, and it's online and social media. There's just so many people that, and then there, when you get into fake accounts and burners where people just want to be mean and things along those lines, it's just unrelenting. And then you take in age and stuff like that where people don't really compartmentalize things well, and it's just hard. It's hard to once you get older, you start getting more paranoid about that's never going to happen to me sort of thing. And that's like, the 1% of bad things that happen, that's not going to happen to me sort of thing. When you get older, that 1% gets bigger. And you never know what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. I mean, this just happened in the NHL too. Another tragic thing with Johnny Gaudreau
and his brother as well.
And his brother, right. So it's just like, man, nothing but empathy should be treated in certain circumstances. And that's all it should be on a 100% basis. And it's unfortunate that it's not on every single time. It's not, right? Like, there's always somebody out there.
Yeah. There he is with his wife, who they've known each other since they were 13 years old. They started dating when they were 15. They have the 3 kids. And there they are, the young daughter and his 2 little boys. It is really, really nice to see people like Alicia, who's a huge Manchester United fan, who constantly whines about the Liverpool Reds these days because, of course, United is now sucking yet again. But her responses were ideal to this whole tragedy. And I don't normally comment on things that I see on YouTube, but to Alicia, to all the other fans of other teams, your response was beautiful. When the Liverpool Reds do come back and they play that first game at Anfield,
Hills.
Boy, that sign will be loud and proud.
Yeah.
You'll never walk alone. And yes, I saw Ed Sheeran did a tribute with You'll Never Walk Alone. I'm not going to be downloading that because Ed Sheeran is not a Liverpool fan, but that was very beautiful that he did. Melanie Chisholm, otherwise known as Sporty Spice, is a Liverpool Reds fan, and her version of You'll Never Walk Alone is just fine by me. But again, Ed Sheeran did his thing. But I'll tell you, having lost my own daughter, I just felt so badly for those 2 parents and what they are now living with, because they got 3 grandkids and that's it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, you've been there, so you can empathize while I can sympathize, sort of thing, because I couldn't imagine with having a 6-year-old child what would happen in either or situation. So it's tough, and I'm glad that he'll be commemorated, and what Liverpool did for the family and things along those lines is great.
Yeah. And again, when they sing Yoda's song again, I will not be without a very dry eye at that moment. I will be bawling my eyes out. It will just happen,
Absolutely.
I
think the whole world will.
Absolutely. But Liverpool has gone through this before, as I've mentioned with the Huddersfield disaster. See, my shirt has no numbers on it because I don't want to wear anybody else's jersey, right? Fair. But on the back of this jersey, it says the 97.
Nice.
Those are the people who died at Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Montreal Canadiens do in hockey, like the Yankees do in baseball, even though I don't like giving that team credit. When they do celebrate something, they do it very well, right? Unfortunately for Liverpool, it's disasters like this, which have happened in the past, and of course just happened again to us. But boy, I'll tell you, it was heartbreaking, and I'm not one to cry openly, but yeah, when they do his song,
absolutely,
I will be bawling my eyes out. You know.
And as a Chelsea fan, I will be watching that game to honor him all day.
Nueves, and he came back from playing in that World Cup for Al Hilal and made it to his funeral.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that. Incredible. Yeah.
The words of support that have been given out this week, because as you know, we sing songs over in England about, and of course, if you want, I'll give you the one we sing for you Chelsea fans. It's 6 European Cups and 20 league titles. That's our history. Something you don't have, Chelsea.
Can I leave? Can I leave?
No. No, but again, I mean,
I know.
That's a nice version too.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I know.
Because of course, in England they don't hold back their words.
Oh no, they certainly did not. Yes.
No. But again, it was a beautiful thing to see. That funeral was tough today. I was up bright and early to watch it. It was tough, but Diogo Jota and his brother, you will both be missed. And as I said earlier, you'll never walk alone.
Yes.
So to end the show this evening, though, we're going to move on to a much happier topic. But you read my article I wrote this week about Canada Day and the rock and roll musicians that I've fallen in love with over the years. You notice there was no mention of Drake or Justin Bieber. Do not blame this Canadian or do not blame me for either one of those guys. Okay, don't blame me for either one of them.
That's fine. I'm a fan of Justin Bieber. Drake, you can have stay in Canada.
Yeah. Well, Justin was fine when he was younger, but he's got some issues that he does deal with today.
For sure.
Which is sad.
Industry related too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it was nice when he was on his own before he got into the record companies and all that other jazz, when he was just showing up on YouTube and singing his songs. That was all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously there is an age gap in between us. So I try and get my knowledge as much as I can in that generation and that era, because my father did raise me to basically love everything 70s and 80s related when it comes to music. But I try and keep up with you when it comes to that, and I think I do a pretty good job.
Yeah, you do a decent job of that. You do.
It's my second hobby to football, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you like the coverage of the SARS concert?
Of the what concert?
The SARS concert from Toronto.
Oh, I did. I didn't get to really see much of the coverage or anything, but tell me about it.
Well, there was 450,000 people out at Downsview Airport in Toronto, which now has a brand new stadium built for them, which holds 50,000 seats only. But it's a new venue for concerts that are being held for the next 5 years. This whole thing can be taken right down, though. So, okay, whatever. But
Yeah.
that day, there was 450,000 of us out there.
That's crazy.
And we also had the Rolling Stones were there, AC/DC. So this was a huge concert. And it was because of the SARS crisis that happened in 2003, right?
Right.
And of course, the Guess Who, American Woman. Lenny Kravitz is a cover version. Okay? It's a fine attempt at covering the song, but the real song was recorded in 1970 by the Guess Who, okay? That's who really did this. And of course, the other story I told was when they first met the Who and Pete Townsend came after Burton Cummings, who was a smaller kid.
Yeah.
I mean, Burton Cummings was a 15-year-old kid when he started with the Guess Who, right?
Right.
And Pete Townsend decided to come after him until he ran into Randy Bachman, who's a fairly big guy. And Randy Bachman said, Pete, we're older than your group is. Go away. And Pete Townsend was gone. He was gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was special. And then of course there was Bachman Turner Overdrive with Taking Care of Business.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that song again is so well known. Those two songs are as well known as "Oh Canada" are up here. Bottom line.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're great. They're great songs, so it does make sense.
Yeah.
What is the number one band that everybody all of Canada will always put out on the gold pedestal? Is there a band?
Oh, it's Rush. There's no
Rush.
doubt.
Oh, that makes sense.
There is no doubt that Rush is going to be the number one band from Canada of all time.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they waited all those years to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thankfully, they did it before the passing of Neil Peart. But again, Rush, from their first song, Working Man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where Working Man got success in? Do you know what city Working Man got success in?
In the U.S. or in Canada?
No, in the U.S.
Detroit.
No. The home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Cleveland.
Oh, yeah? Nice. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. But yeah.
And it was just a DJ who heard their record and started playing this. And back then, yes, okay, before there were cell phones, kids, we had a thing called a landline. And people would actually call into radio stations requesting songs. It's a beautiful. Oh yeah. But and again, this song caught on because there was a bunch of guys that were working men in Cleveland who identified with that song, and that's how Rush, boom, they blew up from there. So there you have it. Yeah.
Rush makes sense. As you know, I was born in '87, so when it obviously still radio, living in Rochester, New York. So being able to visit, 2 hours and 15 minutes to Toronto, we'd obviously take that trip and things along those lines. So Canada bands that I grew up on, because I was obviously, I love Rush, but it was Bare Naked Ladies constantly. And what I learned about Bare Naked Ladies is that the Northeast loves the Bare Naked Ladies so much more than the rest of the U.S. And I love the Bare Naked Ladies so much that I thought it was a U.S.-wide thing until I moved to literally, I was I moved here 9 years ago, so it'd have been, I was 28. So it took me till I was 28 years old to realize that the whole entire USA did not like Bare Naked Ladies like I did, and it was mind blowing to me because Bare Naked Ladies is incredible. I've seen them 3 times. I love every single song they have, and it was flabbergasted that the whole US doesn't like them like I do.
Well, and it's like I wrote in the article when I used to go fishing with my late wife, and I had my Canadian music with me: the Street Heart, the April Wines, Chilliwack, Prism, and they were all going, who's that? And then I would tell them where are they from? And I'd explain to them Canada, and then, and it's like, oh no, okay, Canada is a country,
Yes. USA can be very egocentric. That is correct.
The former governor of Arkansas whose daughter is the current governor, was asked by Rick Bennett, who's a Canadian TV guy, who went down to the U.S. and he would ask Americans questions about Canada, right?
Yeah.
Well, Governor Huckabee at the time, who was a much larger man than he is today, was asked by Rick to wish Canadians a happy National Igloo Day, which the governor proceeded to do.
Yeah.
Now, I knew Governor Clinton before he became President Clinton.
Yeah.
Governor Clinton understood that there was this country up north of us, that was Canada. And, Mr. Huckabee did not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have igloos up here, okay? They're...
That's a very easy thing to know, though.
Wow. Yeah. But again, right? I mean, it blows your mind.
Right.
The absolute stupidity of some people to think
I feel that
we lived in igloos.
Yeah. I've known to get like being close to the border. I knew a good amount about Canada and things along those lines, but I have learned a lot from just chatting with you, and then you actually bringing up Canadian topics very much helps because I do love Canada and almost everything about it. So learning more about Canada seems to be a necessary thing for U.S. It always should have been, but egocentrism.
Well, I put in the room the other day. Canada gave what product that everybody loves?
Oh, peanut butter. Wait, no.
Peanut butter.
Yeah,
peanut
butter. Yeah.
Butter.
That's right.
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
Is a Canadian invention. Insulin was discovered by Canadian doctors, right? All the stuff that Canada has contributed to this world that most Americans have zero idea of, which, it boggled my mind when I joined the Marine Corps, and I'd have guys from Alabama and Georgia and Mississippi, and they didn't have a clue about Canada whatsoever, right? And of course, if they did, they'd say, well, do you know Steve? Canada has 41 million people in this country. There's lots of Steves up there, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible.
It used to boggle my mind, right?
Yeah.
But again, then of course I had the female artists that I enjoy. Alanis Morissette.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that You Ought to Know was done in one take in that studio? One take.
I did not know that. That was
I was stunned when I found that out.
That is crazy. Yeah, she was a family favorite. So I grew up listening to Alanis Morissette constantly. My parents had the wall speakers back in the 90s, the gigantic system that everybody had.
Yeah.
And Alanis Morissette was top 5 for us.
And of course, I also gave us the group from Toronto, the Beaches.
Yep, I have a good one because they're I do like the Beaches. I like their vibe. Oh,
and I've heard their albums when they're in the studio, right?
Yeah.
And the lead singer sounds okay, but as soon as she goes live, holy moly, her voice is that much stronger and better live.
100%.
She just kills it. Absolutely kills it. And they were at Coachella this year.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. What else you have? Who else you have on there?
Well, I did
who else
have.
Are we missing?
Well, Anne Murray, who of course she just turned 80 years old, and she comes from the same hometown that my grandfather, who died in the Second World War, was from, Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. And Spring Hill, of course, had the mining disaster back in the 50s, and it was horrible and all that other jazz. But Anne Murray, when she hit the airwaves in 1970, again, just like the Guess Who did, with Snowbird, her voice was just so pure, right? And she got her 26th Juno Award just this year.
Oh, really?
She had and she has not sung a note since 2008, and she did not sing on this night when she got her Juno Award either. But she talked about her voice being so good for radio, right? Which is true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk about Can I Have This Dance? I mean, that is one huge wedding song all over the world.
Oh yeah.
Bottom line, right? But she also said, auto-tune sucks. And she was getting applause, and I mean applause, from even the young kids who are using auto-tune.
Yeah.
You know?
She's definitely not wrong. And as somebody who is in like where it kind of kicked off, it just gets overused. I understand that there's a time and a place for it, but once people got a hold of it, it was over. It was like there must have been like a 3-year stretch where it was nothing but auto-tune.
Oh, and you know, it drives you out the deep end. Oh, by the way, that big concert in 2003, Justin Timberlake came up for that concert, and we booed him off the stage very quickly.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to say something good.
No. Justin was booed off that stage because Canadians wanted to rock and roll that day. I mean, that was just pure rock and roll. That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
You know, when the Stones came out in AC/DC after you know, Bachman Turner Overdrive and the Guess Who and all that jazz, that was just it was a great event. You know,
yeah, he does not match that energy at all.
No, he didn't, right? It's like, get off this stage now. Like, you do not belong here. It was nice of you to appear, but you just don't belong.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that was a fun event. But then I mentioned, of course, the other great artists that we've had, the Tragically Hip, of course, Gord Downey's now passed away. He had the brain tumor and all that jazz. You know, but again, these are musical acts that I've enjoyed over my years, right? And again, when I had the Streetheart and the Prisms and April Wine and all that, and I again didn't understand why people down there had not heard them, because I'd been to other U.S. states, I've been to Texas, you know,
right,
and people knew who they were. They weren't big bands, but they knew who they were at least. But when I was living in Arkansas, it was But you know what other band was not big in the South at all? That is huge everywhere else? Heart.
Really?
Ann and Nancy Wilson. And they were not popular at all in the Southern United States. It was like,
That doesn't. Again, that's like a Northeast thing for me too. Like the Northeast loves Heart and everything about it. So that's surprising too.
They came up to Vancouver, from Seattle, because of the Vietnam War and all that other jazz that was going on at the time. They hit it big in Vancouver first, and then came back down to Seattle, and so they were very popular in the Northwest, the Northeast.
Yeah.
But again, down south, it was, well, no, them girls, they can't do that. You know, what the heck, you know, and it just boggles your mind some days, right?
Yeah, I will say Heart is more surprising because I've never really had that issue, obviously down south now, but that's more surprising than Bare Naked Ladies, is Heart not being popular in the South by a gap.
But they weren't.
Crazy.
They were not popular at all, and I'm going, Now, my late wife actually did like Heart, and she liked the early stuff especially. She didn't like the 90s hair band stuff that they did, right?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But again, she loved listening to Heart, which was fine by me, of course. But again, the two countries have so much in common, right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
But everybody doesn't identify that simple fact.
Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to kind of figure out. It's almost like it's obviously egocentrism, but it's also there was like openings to just terminology and like stereotyping that Americans just that held on to, and then it was like easy for Americans to do that, and then obviously us being like number one military and stuff like that, they just kind of hung on to it, and then never really optioned out to learn about Canada. And we really didn't have a choice, sort of thing. It just blended into Western New York for us. So I was unfamiliar with the difference because I was so close to the border.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Right.
the number one beer in the state of New York, Labatt's.
Yep, because it's domestic. For Western New York, it's literally like Bud Light, Mick Ultra, Labatt Blue Light. That's what's on special every day.
Labatt's. And I meant in New York City as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In New York City, Labatt's was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
When I went there.
Sorry, go ahead. You first.
I was just going to say, the first time I went to New York, and I was, I did the whole Manhattan thing that everybody does. That was the only time I ever really bothered with Manhattan. Yeah. I go to Brooklyn. I go to Queens. Those are the parts of New York City that I like. And the Bronx.
Yeah.
As long as I don't have to visit Yankee Stadium ever again.
Right.
But again, Labatt's was everywhere. It's just like,
oh yeah. And as a kid, Molson Ice, like trying to get your hands on Molson Ice, and there was a Labatt that had higher alcohol content in it that I cannot think of it. Do you remember what it was?
Oh, that goes back 40 years now for me.
I know. Yeah, it was. I can't remember what it was. And
my uncle worked for Labatt's factory up in Edmonton, which was
nice.
I lived in Edmonton, and then of course when I came down to Calgary and all that jazz, I would always go back up to Edmonton. So the first stop I made was at the factory because it was on the edge of town.
Yeah.
And I'd get 6 cases given to me.
Molson Triple X. And then I can't remember what the Labatt was, but I'm gonna send this. My friends will watch this podcast, and then they're gonna yell at me because I didn't remember it.
Yeah, exactly right. But again, when you actually get to travel in this world, which I was fortunate enough to do because of my 15 years in the Marine Corps. I mean, I've been into 86 countries on this earth, right? So,
yeah.
Hello. I had to phone my mom when I went to New York that first time, though, because my mom loved her Labatt's. She loved that.
Yeah.
Boom, that was it. Yeah. That was the only beer that lady loved. I mean, she loved it.
Yeah.
Mom, I'm in New York, and they're drinking nothing but Labatt's here. Labatt's Blue is everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And she goes, really? Yeah, it's everywhere. It was like, holy mackerel. But again, that's another piece of Canada, right? And again, Coors Light is made up here, but it's a Colorado product. We all know that it comes from Colorado and all that other jazz. Mm-hmm. But why people don't understand Canada has its own industries and everything, I don't get that part. I just don't understand.
Yeah. You and me both.
Yeah. Totally bizarre, right? And again, with what's going on in this world between the two countries with our trade and all that, it's just horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. But again, Canada Day itself, the night from Ottawa, the nation's capital, it was a beautiful ceremony again, and all that good sort of stuff. But all over the country, the Canadian flag was proudly flown. I mean proudly flown, because they are not, and we are not going to become the 51st state. Do you hear me, the guy in the White House? Don't come out with that nonsense ever again, please. But again,
that's pretty much squashed. I think he's still, like, he had a report on it like 2 weeks ago that I saw, but I think I'm pretty sure that's squashed away. So I think you're safe. Stay in Canada.
Let's hope so, because of course, being born in the United States and now seeing that birthright citizenship is under attack, I'm going, really?
Right.
No, it's in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
Yep.
So unless you have 38 states that agree to get rid of that, and you are a birthright citizen, you don't have anything to worry about in the United States, folks. That's the other thing.
Agreed.
Don't panic. because a
Yeah.
constitutional amendment needs 38 states to approve it.
Yeah, and I think if you count the states, just hope that 3 don't swing. And I don't think it's possible for 3 to swing, but with how everything's going, you could probably confirm like 34 would probably go for it. So just, don't swing 4 or 5 because it's a travesty and it's everything that's going wrong right now.
And with the big budget bill that the man just got through, all those people who are going to be kicked off their health care. Yeah, that's what you guys voted for?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything really total that we can do at the moment, but it's just hoping that the American population come through at midterms.
That's going to be the key is 2026, folks.
Yeah.
And if you are a member of the Democratic Party, make sure that you are registered and make sure your registration stays up to date. That is the key thing, because if they've identified you as a Democrat, trust me.
Yep.
You look what they've done in Georgia and other states. You make sure that you are registered and that your registration is up to date. Bottom line.
Agreed.
So, but Mr. Randall, it has been an hour and 15 minutes of fun.
Yes, I always love coming on this show. I'm excited to do more in the fall, in the winter. We're gonna be busy.
With what? What goes on? What goes on?
The sports drought is over. It's been like I think it's been like 10 days since the sports drought has started, and it feels like 2 months.
But of course, up here, I've been enjoying watching the Blue Jays, who swept the Yankees for 4 straight games. For the first time ever in Toronto, they finally swept the Yankees at home. And they've now won 2 other games this week. Mm-hmm. And the Yankees keep losing. That is a very good thing as far as I'm concerned. I know you as well, being a New York Mets fan, have no issue watching the Mets beat the Yankees. Notice how Joe's not here tonight. That's a good thing. Because, of course, the owner of the place loves the Yankees. But
Mets needed this series. Both, I mean, New York Mets and New York Yankees are a dumpster fire right now. So it was who can get out of a slump, and I'm hoping that winning a series against the Yankees are going to get them out of this horrific slump that they're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So everybody tonight, I hope you enjoyed the final word. We've talked about the Razorbacks, Diogo Jota, and of course, our love of Canadian, our love of Canadian music.
Yeah,
so that was a pretty wide-ranging discussion.
Agreed. I love it. I love it as always.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. For this evening for the final word. I want everybody to take care, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you so much.